tēnei kia apiata. Ara tēnā tātou katoa. Tēnā tātou uhia nei e te ua, e whitia nei e te rā, e tai nei kai runga te karanga, aere mai rā, aere mai, haere mai rā. Mihi rā ki te rangi e tū, tangi ana ki te whenua e takotohu i wahora. Tai hāri ki a mihi ki ngā pai maunga e tūtū mai rā i a tararua. A tai hoki rā ki tēnei te ki, kei ngā awa me ki rā rangitāne, tai hoki rā ki tēnā ngā tipuna ko te awe awe, a tēnei te wakahaurua o ka ngunua tā ki timu o rongo mai wahine, o kura aupo e mihi rā ki te mana whenua, ki te tangata whenua tēnei o ngā rohe. Ka rau te tā huhu o tēnei o ngā whare, tēnei tā koe mihi ki a tātou katoa. E wakahaurua mai rā kai runga te karanga, he hua, he kaupapa kai mua rai a tātou. Ka tika kia mihi ki ngā tau mahatanga kai runga ngā poko hiwi o tēnā o tātou. Me ki rai o tātou ne mate. Ko tahi tau i pahurea ki nei rā me ki rā te mate o tēnā rangatiro o tātou ko rau tēnā. Ka tahi kāmihi, kātangi. Tēnā no e mate tōromi nei ki tōna whainga ngā tini a tangaro, kei waikawa, kei kini, ka mihi ki tēnā. Me ki rā ki ena e mahu e tērei i aia. E rima ngā tamariki o tēnā o te tangata nei ko te hiko. I te rā wiki e mate nei, kai roa hoki e te rohe. Nō reira ka tika kia mihi ki rā ki o koutou, haere hoki atu. Takahia ki te arawhāni o e tāne ki te wāhia kore o ki mai. Wai hoake i ngā mea tūmanako, ngā moia, mā tātou te hunga ora kia whaiake. Nō rere ko tā koe mihi ki o koutou, tai hoki rā i ēnā tiro heo mai rā kai runga e kia nei ko ngā live stream. Koina ta take te nui o ngā tangata e tau i te whare nei. He maha no kai runga ki tēnā me ki rā ngā tapu nei. E tiro hea mai rā ki runga i tēnei kaupapa i mua rai a tātou. Nō reira, tēnei te mihi ki o koutou e tai tinana mai, tēnā koutou haere mai, tēnā koutou whakatau mai, tēnā koutou te koa kai runga ki tēnei kaupapa o tātou. Mai o tātou nei tipuna tēnei kaupapa i whakatipu mai. Kai ēnā te whanakotanga, kai ēnā te kōhurutanga, kai ēnā te whakararu mai rā i o tātou nei tipuna. Kia mau pupuri hia i tēnā whakaro i o tātou nei kuia karaua. E toru tau i muri mai. Nā rātou e pupuri hia kia timata hia te kōkiri mai ki te karauna. Kai tēnā wāhi ko te rōpu whakamahi o te wairo. Nā rātou i kawe mai i pikau hia i tēnei kaupapa. Ka tahi ka whiu atu me kira ki tēnā wakatangata e kia nei ko te tira whakaemi. Nā tira whakaemi e kōkiri hia e noho whakararu ake ki tēnā te karauna kia tai ki tēnā e kia nei ko te agreement in principle. Nā rātau i whiu mai ki tēnei wakatangata e kia nei e tai tinana mai i te rangi nei a ko tātou o te wairo. Nō reira tēnei tā koutou rōpu mai ngā tau e rua nei, kia mahi ai ngā whakaro ngā moimoia o tātou katoa. Anei rā te mihi atu kia koutou, nō reira ka tika kia mihi ki tēnā kokonga, kia tātou e noho tahi nei, tēnā koutou, wakatau mai rā tēnā tātou katoa. Te mai Ko tāku mihi whakaoti nei. Nā wai tēnei te mana nā koutou. Nā koutou kei tēnā taone, kei tēnā taone ngā pito toko maho te motu nei. Nā koutou te mana. Ko te huarahi kai mua rā ia tātou, nā koutou te whiri, nā koutou te mana, nā koutou te whakaoti. Nō rā, kai rungi te tono o tēnei rōpu mahi o koutou. Katahi, ka whiua nei kei rungi te whakāto o te pātu o te whare. Nō reira tēnei te mihi. Kāpiti hono tātai hono rātou kua mihia, kua tangihia. O ki maira ki a tātou te hunga ora, tēnā koutou huri no kia ora hui mai tātai. E karakia kai konei.
Kia ora rā tātou, te mea tuatahi, me tau toko āhau, te mihi nei o tō tātou rangitira. Me inoi tātou ki a whakatūwhara tātou hui. O tira e te māngai ngāne, harapono e te tokotoru tapu. Kia te tū mai no koutou ku waingani ki tēnei whakamoimiti o mātou. Hei tātari ngā kupu katoa e whakapua ki nāne e mātou I roto I tō koutou kororiatanga. Ko koutou nei hoki te tīmatanga me te whakotinga mai o a mātou e tūmanaka wati nei I roto I tō koutou kororiatanga. Ko te māngai hei tautoko mai, aia nei, āke nei, hai.
Kia ora tātou. My name is Leon Symes, the chairperson for Tātou Te Wairua Trust, and just like to welcome everyone here this evening to watch our presentation as well as ask some questions of the trustees that are gathered here today regarding the final arrangements concerning the representation and asset model that we have been working on for the last 2 years as your initial trustees for Tātou Te Wairua Trust. I'd just firstly like to acknowledge Piri and Bobby for making an karakia this evening. Before we progress further into the presentation and introductions of what we were about to see, I'd just like each of the trustees just to get up and do a little bit of mahi for themselves, just to so you know who the kahu they represent and who has been doing this mahi for the last couple of years.
Tēnā tātou, Piri Maurau, Piri Chair, and from Whakaki Nui Arua.
Kia ora tātou, ko Papi McGregor tōku ingoa mai te Wairua Tāpokoro tuatahi, which encompasses Ngāti Kuru Pokeaka, and of course Whakaki, Whākirangi. At this stage, I also wish to acknowledge the other trustee, Oha Manuel, who is at home taking care of business towards going to one of our hui tomorrow, if you're able to make it back home. Nā reira, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Kia ora, Janina Symes, I'm Ngāti Rākai Pāka, one of two, the other trustees at home, Pauline Symes.
Kia ora whānau, my name is Phil Beattie. I represent Tapokoro Tūrua Whānui. Our cluster is sort of in the township area, which comprises of Tākitimu, Ruataniwha, Huramo and Tawhiri and Maru, plus other old pa and marae that used to be there. So in terms of we're situated at this point in time, there's girls down the back, and one of them is from our cluster, so if there's any questions and for our trustee we're going through at the moment, you can see Rowena down the back. So kia ora tātou.
Kia ora whānau, my name is Heta Kako and I represent Paki Nuarua with alongside Piri. And I'd just like to last weekend we had a hui and our kahui trustees was ratified and our new entity was ratified. We are now called Te Whakaki Nuarua Trust. And if you want a copy of our trustee, Naomi down the back there, Naomi also will give you a copy of their trustee. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou katoa. My name is Huia Huata. I'm one of two trustees for the cluster Ngā Tokorima Hinamanuhiri. The other trustee couldn't be here today. Her name is Carmen Morel. But in terms of Hinamanuhiri, We're coming close to ratifying the trust deed for Hine Manuhiri, and we're looking at having our first election of new trustees in January, February. So if you're registered, we're looking forward to you voting for the new trustees. Kia ora.
Kānuhi te mihi ora o ngā kānuhi ora e tēnei wā. Kia ora koutou on behalf of Richard Nenia, who's the other half of the dynamic duo representing the Wairoa Karamana Māori Trust Board cluster, and myself, Hapiata Tāpani. We're representing those uri and marae which start from the lake bed at Waikaremoana all the way down to the river mouth. So if you've tracked the water, you can track most of our membership. And we're currently going through the same process as the rest of the kāhuis and transitioning into a new entity called Te Hononga o Ngāwa, which you'll see in the book. And I'll just note that it was accidental omission that the Māori Trust Board wasn't included in there, but we've sorted that out. Anyway, Te Hononga o Ngāwa is the new kupu you want to get used to. Kia ora mō tātou katoa.
Also, we have apologies from Carwyn Jones from Te Pokoro number 2, whānui. He couldn't make it as well, and Moana Rongo, who is the other half of Rongomahini Nai Tara Katoa. So that makes up the 14 trustees. Also at the back, as some have alluded to, is the Kāhui Collective comprised of Te Whakaki, Nui Arua, Te Honga Awa, and Te Wairoa Tapokoro Whānui. So they're here to, if you've got any questions regarding those particular Kāhui, please see them. And Dev also at the back is manning our special voting and registration. So if you've got questions regarding your registration or special vote, please see her at the back. Also here we've got our live stream, as Petty's mentioned. It is a key part of our engagement to make sure that our whānau who can't make it, live overseas, are also informed of what's going on to make sure that they can make the best decision for them by watching the presentation and seeing some of the questions and answers that have been presented here, and as well as other engagement hui. So basically, as an introduction from myself, the presentation you're about to see is one of 3 key work streams that the trustees have been working on throughout their initial term. The first one of that you would have realised and seen is that the receipt of the final settlement redress from the Crown. There was a bit of a process there we had to work through as initial trustees to make sure we went through the specific steps in the legislative process, 3rd reading, select committee, 2nd reading, the likes. We did run into a little bit of a mishap in there during that process, and you would have had to vote on trustee changes in August. So to get us through that process, we had to make some changes to our trustee. We've made those successfully. The Crown successfully signed them off. We successfully went, and those who attended on the 6th of September in Wellington, we appreciate you being there on that time to celebrate what was a momentous occasion to get to that 3rd reading. So there's been 30 years of work by people who have gone before us to get to that stage, and we acknowledge the work that they did to get us there. Our job was just the final last hurdle to push through to get the final redress and confirmed, which we have done so. And the other part of the work that we've been working on is gathering some of the information required for the next set of trustees, and gathering information, establishing relationships with entities, so when they come and take office, they can hit the ground running, and so they can then start to develop some key documents regarding 5-year plans, strategic plans, annual plans, and the likes. But the majority of our work has been focused on what you're about to see in the presentation as well as in the booklets. It's been this consultation process. Last year we came to Palmerston twice to engage and get your feedback on initially some aspirations, principles, values, high-level stuff. Presented a few concepts as well at the same time. And then November as well, last year we came back with a couple of models. So we're taking all your feedback, as well as you've asked us as well to go away and see what other PSGs are doing, see what, get some professional advice. So what we've done is put all that together and are presenting it here in the booklet and presentation. So this has been a combination of hard work from your 14 initial trustees, and I appreciate the work that they have put into this as well. They've brought all the diverse perspectives to the table through your feedback that you've passed on to them. And we tried to pull this together into a model that can reflect all that in one kind of one go. So we've acknowledged the work that they've done. They've been having some quite frank discussions amongst themselves, but we've reached a consensus, as you would say, to get to this point to have something that's be able to present to you today, and if through the process of the special resolution to acknowledge and accept, acknowledge and approve the model, and then make the changes to the trustee, then we'll be able to look to build to the future. So without any further from me, we'll kick into the presentation and run that, and then after that we'll have some Q&A, some questions you may have regarding what's in the book and what you've seen, and we're here to answer those for you. So, and health and safety, obviously, we'll just follow the people that run the show out the front and we'll to the side. Toilets are just here on the right as you just go past reception. So without any further ado, we'll start the presentation. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai. Thank you for joining us today as we take the next step in our settlement journey and vote on our final representation and asset arrangements. We are Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust, the post-settlement government's entity, or PSG, for the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. It is our responsibility on behalf of our iwi, hapu and whānau to manage the redress that will be received as part of our settlement with the Crown. Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa has 14 initial trustees elected by our iwi, hapu and whānau who are helping to ensure we build a solid foundation for the future growth and development of our settlement redress. Our initial trustees aim to serve a term of 2 years. Their first term began in November 2016. Our initial trustees are responsible for managing and overseeing a review process in relation to the ownership arrangement for the Trust's assets and representation, our current mahi. Consulting with representatives of our iwi and hapu to decide whether to purchase any properties that might become available during the initial 2-year period. Maintaining records and information that will facilitate the initial trustees' preparation of the first annual plan, 5-year strategic plan and annual report. This presentation covers the key points in your information booklet relating to the final representation model for Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. Following this presentation, we will have 30 minutes for you to ask any questions you may have. Ka tahi ka kaputi tātou, so you can meet your representatives and our support teams who are here today. Also, if you are not yet a registered member of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa, we can help you to register today so that you can vote. In August and November 2017, we held engagement hui around Aotearoa to seek your thoughts and feedback on our aspirations, values and principles, and on potential models for our asset and representation arrangements. It was great to see so many whānau participating, and lots of new faces too, with many tuning in to watch the live-streamed videos and sending us their messages online. We received invaluable feedback from you during this time, which has shaped our trustees' mahi over 2018. We are now back on a hīkoi across Aotearoa, holding a round of hui in Te Wairoa, Tūranganui-a-Kiwa, Here Taunga, Rotorua, Kirikiriroa, Tāmaki Makaurau, Te Papaioia, Te Whanganui-a-Tara, me o Tautahi. We are presenting exactly the same information at each hui, which will cover a recap of our settlement journey to get to this point, and how we will manage the settlement redress, including how kāhui representation and our unit trust model will work. The hui will be an opportunity to ask all the pātai you have, and also, if you haven't voted online or by post already, to vote on our representation and asset arrangement model and trust deed changes via special ballot box. Your vote is really important to us. Remember, it is you who will determine if we can move forward with the proposed final asset and representation arrangements. It's you, our people, who ultimately decide on the future of tātou tātou o te Wairoa. Our settlement journey began more than 30 years ago when our kaumātua first lodged historical treaty claims with the Waitangi Tribunal in the early 1980s for the area between Turanganui-a-Kiwa and Mohaka, the Wairoa Inquiry District. Ultimately, our whakapapa and whanaungatanga helped us to work together. Our iwi, hapu and whānau eventually formed into a single large natural grouping under the name of Te Tira Whakaimi o Te Wairoa, made up of 7 clusters of iwi, hapu and whānau groups across the district. It took years of intense discussion, consultation and negotiation to finally get to our Deed of Settlement and PSG, Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust ratification, which our iwi, hapu and whānau confirmed in 2016. Our official Deed of Settlement signing ceremony was held in Wairoa on the 26th of November 2016. The iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa Claims Settlement Bill had its first and second readings in Parliament on the 20th of December 2017 and 15th of March 2018 respectively, which were well attended by whānau. On the 6th of September 2018, we celebrated the third and final reading of our settlement bill in Parliament. This was an historic occasion for our iwi, hapu and whānau, and the culmination of many, many years of hard work that our tipuna started. Our settlement gained the royal assent on the 13th of September 2018 and is now law. We are now here today to present to you the final representation and asset arrangements for Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. You are being asked to vote on the following special resolutions. The adult registered members resolve to amend the Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust Deed as set out in the marked up Trust Deed entitled Revised Version November 2018, and approve the unit trust model as the asset and representation model for the Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. The Trust needs to pass this special resolution so that we can have an agreed representation model and way of managing our settlement assets. The Trust asks all whānau to review the proposed representation and asset arrangement model and then to vote yes to approve the special resolution. The special resolution must receive at least 75% support of valid votes cast for it to be passed. The current trust deed, ratified in August 2018, has been updated to reflect the proposed final representation and asset arrangement model. The marked up trust deed, entitled Revised Version November 2018, can be accessed on our website in the Documents section. If the special resolution does not receive the required level of support, the current trust deed, ratified in August 2018, will stand and a new set of trustee elections will be held. What it really means is that we will lose the opportunity to move forward that our iwi, hapu and whānau have been waiting for so long. Whānau, our ultimate goal has been to move as quickly as possible through the legislative process to complete Crown involvement in this part of our journey and move into a position of holding our destiny in our own hands. We are pleased that we have achieved this, and it is now solely up to our iwi, hapu and whānau to make the big decisions on our future. This is an exciting time. It's you, our people, who'll decide on the final asset and representation arrangements. Your participation in this vote is crucial to a successful future for the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairoa. The voting period is open from Saturday the 3rd of November to 12 p.m. Monday, 26th of November 2018. The independent returning officer, elections.com, is running this voting process. All adult registered members of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa are eligible to vote. There are 3 ways to vote. You can vote by post, online, or by ballot box at these hui. For voting inquiries, including requests for replacement voter packs, please contact the election helpline on 0800 666 946, or for overseas residents 0064 377 3530, or email edo@elections.com. What happens after the vote? We expect to receive the results within 1 week of vote closing. The Trust will notify all members of the outcome of the vote, so keep an eye on your email as well as the Trust's website and Facebook page for updates. If the Trust achieves the required support for introducing this final representation and asset arrangement model, the Trust will make the required changes to the Trust deed, and new Kāhui Tātou Tātou representatives will be elected by the end of March 2019. The Tātou Tātou representatives will be the directors of the corporate trustee of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. Our new Tātou Tātou representatives will focus on finalising Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa 5-year strategic plan, which is in draft form at the moment. A consultation process will be run next year amongst our members so that we can get your feedback on this important document. At our engagement hui in 2017, we presented some possible models for the future structure of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa for you to consider. We discussed how these models could be applied separately or parts taken from each to create a final model. You told us what you thought of the models presented to you and why, what aspects you liked and what parts you didn't like, and what further detail you needed that would enable you to make an informed decision. We have listened to your views and those contained in further information gathered, and have brought them together to develop a recommended final representation and asset arrangement model for the future structure of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa. It is this final model that you are being asked to vote on now. If you vote yes to this model, and we strongly encourage you do, this is how we will manage the settlement redress received on the settlement date, 12th of November 2018, to benefit our iwi, hapu and whānau for generations to come. Our recommended representation and asset arrangement is 7 kāhui, cluster groups, each with a legal structure in place in order to be a unit holder in Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust upon settlement. A unit trust model, with each kāhui holding units in Tātou Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. We had to consider which model would deliver more immediate benefits and greater control of income derived from the settlement for the kāhui and our iwi, hapu and whānau right from the outset. But we also had to incorporate parts of key strengths of existing PSG models around collective mechanisms of asset management and economies of scale through keeping the principle intact, while allowing for kāhui seeking independence to be enabled to do so without the need for further Tātou Tātou trust deed changes or special resolutions. We have looked closely at all other PSG models of a similar size to Tātou Tātou and how representation and delivery of benefits to their members is undertaken. However, none of these models are believed to be an appropriate, identical match for the management of our settlement redress due to our circumstances. We are unique, and we need a unique model for our settlement that is tailored specifically to the needs of iwi, hapu and whānau. This is your opportunity to vote on the final representation and asset arrangement model that will help shape the future of our tamariki and mokopuna. The unit trust model reflects a combination of the concepts and models presented to you in the August and November 2017 engagement hui. It incorporates a combination of both consolidated and diversified asset ownership, where the principal settlement is kept together and income derived is either reinvested or distributed to kāhui. In regards to being grouped by kāhui, the feedback we have received is that many whānau think it's best to continue on the path that we have forged through the settlement process so far, being grouped by hapu for representation, then coming together under one umbrella group. Many whānau say they are used to the kāhui structure and feel that it is fair that each group can elect its own representative as trustees on the board. That way, each smaller group's voice is heard, but overall, we are stronger together as one. So, after considering your feedback, the initial trustees recommend we continue with the existing kāhui representation approach for tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. Let's now take a close look at the key features of the unit trust model and how the kāhui representation will work within it. All this information is contained in the information booklet from page 14 onwards. So how will kāhui representation work? First and foremost, under the unit trust model, each kāhui needs to have a structure in place in order to be a unit holder in tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. There are several requirements for a kāhui structure to stand. 1. It needs to be robust and have clear provisions around the appointment of its governors. 2. The structure may be charitable. However, if it is charitable, it will be restricted to charitable activities. If your kāhui does not have a structure in place currently, it is recommended that a discretionary trust is set up to represent your kāhui on tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. A template trust deed has been prepared which can be aligned to the specific needs of your kāhui. This can be accessed on the Documents section of our website. It takes approximately 3 months to set up a discretionary trust. More information around the rules of operation for discretionary trusts can be found on page 17 of the information booklet, and we can answer any pātai you have on this after this presentation. If you already have a structure in place to represent your kāhui, your options are 1. To continue using your current structure upon settlement date. 2. To set up a discretionary trust as another entity using the template trust deed. 3. To incorporate aspects of the template trust deed into your current structure by amending your current structure's governing documents. The current trust deeds for the various kāhui who are establishing a new discretionary trust to hold units in tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust can be accessed on the Documents section of our website. Let's take a look at how kāhui are represented on tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. Each kāhui will elect one representative to tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust to be its tātou tātou representative. The elected tātou tātou representative will be a director of the corporate trustee of tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. We'll talk more about how the corporate trustee works soon. Each kāhui will have a representative beneficial entity which will hold units in tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. Each beneficial entity will hold the same number of units initially. 1 unit equals $1 of financial and commercial redress, excluding the value of the interest received as part of an initial distribution to kāhui. Now let's explain what having a corporate trustee means. A corporate trustee is a company which acts as the trustee of a trust. The people who would have been trustees of the trust are appointed as directors. As mentioned before, the elected tātou tātou representative will be a director of the corporate trustee of tātou tātou o te Wairoa Trust. we recommend having a corporate trustee for several reasons. 1. It reduces the administrative burden on the trust. What this means practically is that authorised person or persons can bind the trust, instead of all trustees having to sign contracts. 2. It provides protection for trustees and their whānau. Legally, trustees are personally liable, and this can put them and their whānau at risk. The establishment of a corporate trustee provides a layer of protection for those directors who are tasked with this important mahi for the trust. The establishment of corporate trustees is a common approach for a trust managing assets of a significant value, including PSGEs. For example, Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei and Ngāti Porou both have corporate trustees. We think it is important to our values to include a charitable trust arm as part of the unit trust model. This charitable trust will hold 2 units in Tātou Tātou o Te Wairua Trust. The focus of the charitable trust will be to run charitable activities for the benefit of the members of the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairua. Equally, we also need to have a part of the trust dedicated to running our commercial activities. Our commercial arm will be managed through a commercial company and board. When we look at board representation on the commercial company, we must ensure this board is separate from the Tātou Tātou board. The commercial board will prepare a statement of investment policy and objectives, which includes the parameters under which the commercial company will operate. And the commercial board will make investment decisions within those parameters. The SIPO must be approved by the directors of the corporate trustee of Tātou Tātou o Te Wairua Trust. When we look at who sits on the commercial board, we recommend that a minimum of 5 directors will be appointed and removed by the corporate trustee. At least one member has to reside in the Wairua district. Directors will have their remuneration set by the Tātou Tātou board on a fixed fee basis. They will be appointed for a 2-year term initially, then every 3 years thereafter. All directors may be reappointed for a further term or terms. An appointment process would be held to replace a vacancy more than 6 months out from expiry. Where a vacancy existed within 6 months of an expiry, the vacancy would remain until the next appointment. Appointments will be made on a best person for the role basis. That is, they must have the ability and expertise to maximise returns that will either be reinvested or distributed to kāhui. To ensure the best candidate for the role, selections for candidates will need to be done in consultation with a suitably qualified independent agency. What happens to our forest asset? Our forests are treated separately within the unit trust model and are run by their own limited liability companies due to our shared interest with our neighbouring iwi. By the 5th anniversary of the unit trust model being ratified, the beneficial entities representing kāhui with interests in the forests must enter an agreement outlining their interests. If a beneficial entity becomes independent, they will receive shares in the relevant forestry company in proportion to their interest outlined in the agreement. We will discuss some long-term financial forecasts for the unit trust model later on in this presentation. But at a distributions level, part of the interest accrued will be distributed to each beneficial entity over 3 years from the date the unit trust model is ratified in proportion to their units. From the 4th year on, distributions will be made corresponding to the unit interest in December every year at 40% of profits. If a kāhui did not want to receive some or all of their annual distribution, then this could be held by commercial board for up to 6 months. A kāhui could also reinvest some or all of its distribution with commercial board that would result in increased units for that kāhui. There are set rules when it comes to deferred selection properties, or DSPs. The beneficial entity of a kāhui may choose to purchase a DSP during the first 3/4 of the DSP selection period for the relevant DSP, after which the commercial board may purchase the DSP. Where only one kāhui has an interest in a DSP, that kāhui may notify the tātou board in writing that it wishes to purchase it and work with tātou board to go through the DSP process. The tātou board will instruct the commercial board to purchase the DSP and transfer it to the kāhui or its nominee. Note, under the deed of settlement, there's no provision to nominate another entity to purchase DSPs. Where there's an overlapping interest in a DSP, all the kāhui with overlapping interests must establish and nominate a joint entity, which they must determine their respective interests in, to purchase the DSP. They must then notify the tātou board that they wish to purchase the DSP jointly, then work with the trustee to go through the DSP process. The tātou board will instruct the commercial board to purchase the DSP and transfer it to the joint nominated entity. The price for a DSP will initially be satisfied by the commercial board and on transfer to the kāhui will be satisfied by a payment of cash, through a redemption of units or a mixture of both by the beneficial entity representing the kāhui. Where a beneficial entity has not exercised its right to purchase a DSP during the first 3/4 of the deferred selection period, or no kāhui has an interest in the DSP, the commercial board will be able to purchase the DSP. Rights of first refusal properties, RFRs, will have a similar process to that of DSPs. Where an RFR is triggered, the tātou board will notify the kāhui that has indicated an interest and work through the process together. Where there are overlapping interests in RFRs, the tātou board will notify the kāhui that have indicated an interest, and these kāhui may establish a joint entity to purchase the property. Where a beneficial entity does not confirm it wishes to purchase the property within a certain time frame, the commercial board will be able to purchase the properties. Together, all these features make up our final representation and asset arrangement model. Now let's take a closer look at the kāhui relationship with tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. As explained earlier on, each kāhui will elect one person to be its representative on tātou o Te Wairoa Trust, the tātou representative for that kāhui, and a director of the corporate trustee. It is important that the relationship between tātou o Te Wairoa Trust and each kāhui is two-way. The tātou representative will report to tātou o Te Wairoa Trust on the kāhui activities annually. Equally, the tātou representative will report back to the kāhui on tātou o Te Wairoa Trust's activities annually. When it comes to appointing kaumātua as and when required, the kāhui will appoint one kaumātua to the Kaumātua Council for tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. In the engagement hui in 2017, we discussed whether there should be the option for a kāhui, or a rōpū as it was referred to then, to leave tātou o Te Wairoa if it decided that it wanted to be independent. Under this final representation and asset arrangement model, it is proposed that the kāhui may become independent from tātou o Te Wairoa Trust via a special resolution vote. 75% of adult registered members in the kāhui must validly cast a vote in favour of the special resolution to ratify independence. A beneficial entity that has become independent may rejoin tātou o Te Wairoa Trust, but it will need to purchase new units at a minimum of 5 million to do so. The tātou trust deed needs to be amended to reflect the kāhui independence option. This will be done as part of this vote. There are several key principles achieved through the kāhui independence process. High voting thresholds ensure fairness and a robust process. All adult registered members of the kāhui can vote on the exit, which ensures transparency. And time limits mean that the Tātou board has certainty going forward. This is due to a kāhui only being able to trigger an independence request within the set time periods. Becoming independent will mean that the beneficial entity representing a kāhui redeems its units in Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust for cash and shares in the forest companies. However, a kāhui will remain a part of Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust in perpetuity because Tātou o Te Wairoa is the PSG for the single comprehensive settlement with the Crown. The cultural redress received as part of the settlement will always stay with Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust, as this is what is contained in our Deed of Settlement and Claims Settlement Act. An independent kāhui will no longer have a trustee representative on Tātou board, but it will remain connected to Tātou o Te Wairoa through a formal agreement including rights to purchase RFR land and how cultural redress matters will be handled. The amended trust deed will set out the process by which a beneficial entity can become independent from Tātou o Te Wairoa. You can read more about the kāhui independence process on page 19 of your information booklet. Now that we've covered off how the unit trust model will be structured and how the kāhui representation will work within this model, let's take a look at the long-term financial benefit of this type of model. Over the past year, your initial trustees have engaged experts to undertake detailed financial modelling of the unit trust model to assess the likelihood of its financial viability in the long term, and so we can be sure that the iwi, hapu and whānau will benefit. We've looked at costs, return on investment, risks and relevant qualitative factors based on 2 scenarios. You can take a detailed look at the financial modelling on pages 20 to 25 of your information booklet, but we'll also go through this in some detail now. Scenario 1 is where we remain as Tātou collective for at least 25 years, where all kāhui manage their assets collectively. Scenario 2 is where one kāhui leaves the collective at a defined point in time, for example after 5 years, and manages their share of pūtea individually. Underpinning all of this were several guiding principles: to mitigate risk, to preserve options, to ensure decisions by consensus, to ensure accountability and transparency that is fair to all parties involved and that involves arm's-length decision-making. You can read more about these guiding principles on page 21 of your information booklet. Now let's take a look at each modelled scenario. Under Scenario 1, all kāhui invest collectively for 25 years. This includes the forest asset with an estimated value of 6.035 million. The forest asset itself is estimated to generate 3% lease income and 1% capital gain per annum. An initial asset allocation of 40 to 60 between growth assets, low-risk assets has been modelled. A final asset allocation of 60-40 between growth assets, low-risk assets over 6 years. This happens once a broader range of investment opportunities are assessed and the collective has greater certainty over the investment term, asset classes and risk appetite that kāhui are comfortable with. Under Scenario 1, cash income and capital gains are expected to grow over time as a result of compound interest and reinvestment. Distributions have been modelled as follows. Initial 3 years of distribution consists of the total 7.4 million of net accrued interest distributed to kāhui. This is indicated by the dark purple columns in the diagram. Each kāhui receives approximately 1 million spread over 3 years if they retain all their units in Tātou o Te Wairoa Trust. There is no distribution of the portfolio's profits in the initial 3 years, with 100% of earnings reinvested into the portfolio. From year 4, distributions policy is set at 40% of earnings, with the remaining 60% being reinvested into the portfolio. This diagram shows the potential cash distributions for each kāhui over 25 years based on these assumptions. The next 2 graphs illustrate the potential growth in the collective portfolio, diagram 3, and share allocated to each kāhui, diagram 4, over 25 years. It also shows how the income is split between costs, distributions, and reinvestment. At the end of year 25, under the modelled assumptions, the initial 113.4 million portfolio capital could grow to 244 million in aggregate. This includes the 6.035 million estimated value of the forest asset. This is an increase of 130.6 million. At the end of year 25, the initial 16.2 million portfolio capital per kāhui could grow to 34.9 million in aggregate. This is an increase of 18.7 million. If any kāhui decide they want to leave the Tātou Collective, we are keen to provide the right information to ensure they understand what this means from a financial and investment perspective. We have modelled scenario 2 on the basis that a kāhui becomes independent in year 5. All kāhui initially invest in the Tātou model for 5 years, as per scenario 1. At the start of year 6, one kāhui becomes independent. Asset allocation and distributions remain the same as under the Tātou scenario. However, there are costs to becoming independent. On becoming independent, the kāhui, for example, might incur a cost of $250,000 that includes a contribution to legal, valuation and structuring costs as shown in this diagram. The kāhui is also assumed to incur their own management costs to operate the fund of $450,000 per annum. This is $300,000 per annum greater than the kāhui share of the operating costs of Tātou o Te Wairoa. So we can compare the 2 scenarios on the same level. The kāhui is assumed to invest in the same investment mix. That is, 60% growth assets and 40% low-risk assets with the same returns. It is important to understand that the kāhui that has become independent may face practical constraints in order to achieve the same result as scenario 1. It may be harder to achieve the same asset mix as the collective, as the smaller investment capital, approximately 15 million, compared with more than 100 million, may restrict the accessibility to invest in certain asset types such as private equity, commercial property, farms, and businesses. It may also be more difficult to achieve the same level of diversification, which results in greater risk exposure to single assets compared to the Tātou collective scenario. Assuming the same asset mix and distribution profile, the portfolio income of the kāhui that becomes independent may be less than what could be achieved if the kāhui remains in the Tātou model. This is due to the compounding effect of higher operating costs as shown in this diagram. Kāhui capital could grow from 17.3 million to 26.1 million. But this is 7.1 million lower than the modelled result of remaining in the Tātou collective. This is because of the higher operating costs of the kāhui. To reduce the difference, the kāhui could invest a greater portion of their capital in growth assets, reduce costs while preserving capability, or reduce distributions. The purple dotted line on this graph shows the level of distributions modelled by staying within the Tātou model. By comparing the level of distributions between Scenario 1 and Scenario 2, this is approximately 100% greater than those achievable under the independent scenario. Now let's recap. We are holding this hui so you can better understand how the proposed unit trust model and kāhui representation will work. We want to ensure you are fully informed before you vote on the special resolution. It's up to you, whānau, to decide if we can move forward with the final asset and representation arrangements. We strongly encourage you to vote yes to the special resolution to 1. Amend the tātou o te Wairua trust deed as set out in the marked up trust deed entitled Revised Version November 2018. And 2. Approve the unit trust model as the asset and representation model for the tātou o te Wairua trust. We'll now have questions and answers. Before we do, we have the following ground rules. Please respect others and remain quiet so that their pārtai can be heard clearly. Please identify yourself when you speak so we can record your name. Please keep questions related to the final representation and asset arrangement model. For other matters, please talk to one of your representatives. Thanks for your support, whānau. It's crucial in helping us build a positive future for the iwi and hapu of Te Rohe o Te Wairua. This is the beginning of our new era, and we are so excited and grateful to have you united with us on this journey. Nō reira, from all of us at tātou o Te Wairua Trust, ngā mihi kia koutou katoa, tēnā koutou, mauri ora.
Thank you, Whānau, for listening to our presentation. It is, as you've seen, it's been quite a long journey for our trustees, meeting every month for 2 days at sometimes to work through these issues, to come to you today to present this final model regarding the asset arrangements and representation. It has been, I guess, a rewarding journey to go through this process as initial trustees, to be your voice and put your voices and whakaaro down into an aspirational kind of model, I would say. Usually with PSGs, we inherit the model that the Crown approved. That's what the Crown wants. Now we said, well, we've gone through that process and been through and done that. Now it's decisions back in our hands. And so we've gone through a robust process where we've engaged with our members to see what they want, and this is what we've come up with by taking that feedback, along with, like I said, with our specialist advisors, Chapmanship and Deloitte's partners. But at the same time, we made sure that your voices were heard and incorporated into this representation and model. Maybe some consider it maybe a bit complex. It is maybe in some respects, but it is unique, and we wanted something unique for us, not to use other PSG models that we thought may be a fit, because we couldn't find any that fit. We've tried to learn from what mistakes they've made, trying to incorporate a more regional, localised based approach in it straight from the outset, rather than grow the asset. It's all about growing the asset, and foregoing some of those benefits initially. We've tried to say, well, let's try and balance it a little bit. Let's forego some of the growth and then try and get some of the benefits from the outset, and try and build it up from then, and then distribute early on rather than wait 10, 15 years to then start to do distribution. So we're trying to balance the approach of keeping the financial redress together, because that's what come across quite strong. Keep the money together and then use the income from the money to do the distribution. So that's been a key thing with other PSGs, is they haven't divided up their settlement. They kept the principle together and build the principle. Simple financial modelling says, you would have seen there, keeping the money together, grow it, growing it is a lot less riskier. You can earn more rather than dividing it up and going separately. You take on more risk. You need to take on more costs. So that was quite clear. So, but also, a lot of this we kind of devolved some of the decision making to the kahui level, get them to step up and start to make some key decisions around what their aspirations and future looks like, rather than it being top-down driven from, I guess, a board that sets the priorities, that sets everything, and everyone has to follow in behind. This model is put in unique in that way, by devolving some of those decision-making down to that kahui level. And you would have seen, for that to occur, we need these kahui to become functional, operational, professional. They need capability, capacity. They need to be legal entities, so then we can have that relationship from tata to our kahui entities, so then we know exactly who we're dealing with, and there's a clear line of accountability. The money we're giving to them, they're accountable for it. They make sure that they run through their processes as well to deliver the benefits. So it's quite unique in that you have to come through your kahui to then get your benefits. And we said, no matter where your whakapapa takes you to, you've got multiple kahui, you can register with multiple kahui. You just don't need to register with tata, so you can participate as many as you like across the board. It's up to you. You make that choice yourself, not for our tata to make a decision on where you can go and where you can't go. It's not really our right and ability. It's your whakawhapa that takes you to those different kahui. If you wanted to exercise your rights then you should be able to do so. So that's on the asset side. It's key that we make sure this settlement grows for the future, and we've tried to do that prudently by using professional advisors to get the detail. Some people say that's too much detail, but others say that that's what they're looking for, the detail on the financial modelling, because then we can set the baseline stuff to say, well, we should be doing this, and then over the years our modelling will change as we get better of understanding our investments. When the professional board, commercial board is in operation, then we can refocus our focus on the commercial side. But as in the start, the representation is the key about moving to that kahui and making sure that they are a legal entity and we can get them operational, so then we can start delivering some of the benefits through the kahui. Because we've got a wide spectrum of kahui who are starting off on this journey, others that are quite a long way down the path have had previous iwi trusts, incorporated societies. So we've got a wide spectrum there of kahui at different stages, so we need to have something that's flexible to make sure it caters for that wide spectrum. Some of them obviously want to go independent early on because they've already been through a process and established for quite a while. So we didn't want to hold them up and wait. They had to wait for the slowest one to catch up. So building in that kahui independence was part of their aspirations. But others, some the other kahui, some don't even have trust deeds. So we've had to help them, resource them to get to that stage. So they're on a different, earlier part of the journey of establishing themselves. But the ultimate aim is to have 7 vibrant, robust kahui structures in place, each delivering benefits themselves and managing their settlement. So that's basically that was our traditional structure that the Crown took away when Moa was ruled by chiefs of the areas. Different areas had different chiefs. So we're trying to revert back to our traditional structure and then try and implement that with modern principles and teachings regarding financial management, accountability, governance, good governance. So we want all the kahui to lift their governance and accountability. Same with tata, it's about lifting everyone, not just a small group that lifts, and you get this whole stretch thing where the ones on the ground don't see a lot. You see a whole lot of high-level professionals running the show and nothing on the ground. So we want that kahui structure gives us the foundation and structure to lift the whole region, whole district, not just a select group at the top. So that's enough from me. I'll open up the floor, and Janina's got a mic there. If you've got any particular questions you want to answer, then we're happy to hear them, and I'll provide my best answer.
You've got to talk into this, okay? I think
Tēnā koutou katoa. Mahapu Hanamihi, Kester Atkinson and Noor. I've probably, as someone described me before by the initial trustees here, I was described as ancient, but very, very active. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Tātou Wairoa on the energies and the commitment to the long journeys you guys have been on. For myself, I spent 9 years on the claims process at Rupaniki Waikamoana up at the lake. So I know what you've been through. But well done, eh? Just absolutely wonderful for your hapus and all of our whānau. Excellent. The only other thing I need to say right now is, you know, we're all here moving forward, and it's very, very humbling for me to see our tamariki here. Because that's what we're all here for. That's what we're on this journey for. It's just so lovely to see. I've sort of retired from the politics of land claims and all this, but I can assure you I've followed Tātou with absolute interest. I'm also known through kahanuni, through the heads of governance. So I have a little bit of knowledge. But the knowledge I hold is always for my people. So when I ask the questions, it's not for me. It is for my people, all of us. So, Tātou, the first question I have throughout this journey and throughout your presentation is, it's one of governance. Now, and it's a selection process of the kahui. I have a real deep concern, and that's why I'm out of retirement right now. It's that I need to know your legal governance right in, firstly, the selection process of the kahui, and also, more importantly, the overwhelming control of that kahui as a breakaway group, or call it what we like, because as I see it, hypothetically, a singular kahui could actually do damage to us as Tātou Wairoa. We've seen it in other settlements where very, very poor investment portfolios have been made, and once again, we're projected out into the atmosphere, if you like, particularly in front of the colonists, I'll use that word, and it'll just be another Maori bashing exercise. So I see that as very, very important. So that's my first question. So if you could you guys just answer that for me? Yeah, kapai.
So the real, I guess, kind of, if you're looking for a weakness in this whole structure, is the capability at that kahui level. That's where the weakness lies. So that's the big risk of devolving some of these decision makings down to that level. Do they have the ability currently to make some of these important decision making? So part of what we need to do is, as Tātou, is ensure they have. They're sure they've got the right structures in place. That's why we're supporting them to get their trust deed up. And their trust deed includes certain provisions that annually they need to meet. And those are, obviously need to have an AGM, need a set of audited accounts, and if there's an election, they need to have an election. So if they don't meet those three minimum criteria, then we can withhold their annual distribution. So we could stop money flowing to them if they don't meet that. So that kind of gives us a bit of protection. We don't want to get that far. We want to make sure we're proactive, ensuring that they have, if they go through proper governance training, like we've went through 2 sets of governance training ourselves, so we want to kind of install that on them as well to make sure that they can lift their ability. But also we want to make sure that those members who don't live back home but live elsewhere in the wider public go back home and help them. So we're encouraging them to get engaged with your kahui, to get involved with the processes, to get involved with the meetings, to make sure that you're informed and then can help. You know, this is not all about our ability at home of the wairoa whānau. It's also the ability of those that don't live outside that can contribute back to helping them, to making sure that, you know, that they don't make the same mistakes that others have made. Now, in terms of the mistakes, that's why if an independent kahui went independent, they're completely separate from tātou no more. They're their own in terms of the financial side, and you would have seen there we can't devolve the cultural redress because that always will sit with tātou. That's what was part of the single comprehensive settlement, what tātou being that front. But in terms of financial and commercial independence, if a kahui went out and made some bad investments, there is that $5 million kind of threshold to come back in. So it's up to those individual kahui members to keep an eye on what their kahui is doing in terms of those investments, in terms of their financial set of accounts. And when it gets close, if they get some bad decisions, it gets close to that $5 million mark, or before that $5 million mark, is to then force a vote to say, come back in. Then they can come back in, and then they can rebuild again, and those hopefully have been part of that, the process that have lost the money are not part of this process. And then they can come back to the collective and then come back and have a vote at the table, but only are able to ability to benefit in terms of what they brought back. They don't get the same level of returns as everyone else who stayed together. They are still on that same journey of getting the return. So at least protects them. If there are bad decisions, we welcome them back as we do manaki them back into the collective. But at the same time, it also gives them the opportunity to go out and test the waters, I guess. So a lot of the confidence is going to come down to the capability of the kahui governance at the time. A lot of responsibility sits with them.
Yeah, kapai. Yeah, well, that was, you answered my query reasonably well to where I was headed with it. Now, so what I heard there was there is some governance within tātou itself in the selection process of kahui. Kapai. Kapai?
Well, it comes down to individual members, kahui members making a decision for themselves. We don't put kind of parameters on that an individual trustee needs to meet X amount of governance level because we can't set that criteria. It comes to individual kahui members looking at the bio of potential candidates and making a decision based on that, based on what they feel is best for them. We can't be too descriptive in saying this is who we're looking for your kahui trustees or the trustees on tātou. We cannot do that because that's, it kind of narrows the focus, narrows the ability to select someone the members of the kahui may want to choose.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads me on. Look, I don't want to hog the mic, please. I just want to express this to you guys. Okay, so leading on to my next take is the selection of Waikamoana Maori Trust Board as being one of the kahui. Now, I have extreme exception to that because firstly, we're using an old model and yet tātou wairoa through your presentation is saying, come on whānau, let's move forward, let's row the waka together, let's be fresh, and let's put innovation and good business practice in place. That is the statement of tātou. However, Waikamoana Maori Trust Board has been around for a long time. It has baggage. I can stand here in front of the cameras and say it has baggage. You all know it has baggage. We have Nā tūhoi thing going on up the lake. We have the lease issues, and we have now, this is dated the 2nd November 2018, the external evaluation and review report from NZQA, who are not happy with Wairoa Waikamoana Trust Board. Now, I don't want to hark there, but what I am saying is, my hapu is Hinamihi. Now, this organisation represents me, represents my whānau. I do not want to be part of a board who has baggage representing me. Why should I? Firstly, there is, the very first point is, administration, there is a fee. So, there are salaries to be paid to those people that are already in that organisation. They are already looking for funding now to continue. It's all in the report. So I am opposed to that. I make it well known, and I've come out of retirement to actually start beating the tom-toms on that. The structure, that part of tātou, I'm sorry, is not correct. We need an independent, elected membership model from those hapu that are involved in that cluster. It doesn't need to come under Te Wairoa, Waikamoana, Maori Trust Board, mental. So I am absolutely opposed to that, mate, and I'll come out of retirement to try and address it, and address it well. So that's all I have to say.
Yep.
Okay, kapai? Yep.
Just on that final point, it's been Tātou Tātou's position not to get himself involved in Kāhui politics. Kāhui politics are Kāhui politics. We need to stay clear of Kāhui politics so that we are an independent in this process. All through this, we'll see the list on page 27 has been, I guess, a bane of our existence, or our own existence back at home. Who's on those lists? So when we went through the trustee review back in August, through the Crown process, we were being constricted by the Crown to construct that list. We said back then, who's on that list is your decision. It's your take. And if you want to get involved with that, you go back to that Kāhui clusters and get involved at that level. It's not for Tātou Tātou to get involved with and put its dirty rights and fingers and try and manipulate certain things in there. That's not our role. Our role is to help you facilitate those discussions, to go through a process, to come out to the end where there is an agreement on who's in, who's out, who's around, or whatever. So that's been our official stance. And we've kept our arm's length at that. Any other further questions? So I hope there were some other name changes going on there as well, the Kāhui stuff. We were moving from, as I said, pre-settlement to post now, and it's going to look a bit different. Yeah, because without the crane restraints, we don't need a lot of support. Some Kāhui don't need that support anymore. They're at a stage where they can flourish and I guess develop themselves. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for these Kāhui to be autonomous units, self-driven, self-governed by their own trustee. They don't need that level of oversight, whether it's from us, the Crown, or any other entity. They should be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Is there a time frame?
Time frame.
For the transition?
We're resolved to be off on March next year. So by the end of March, every kahui would have run the election to run the election for their tata representative. Yeah, so that goes in. And at the same time, they will by then had an election for their own kahui trustees. So by March next year, we should be ready to go. But part of what our final job is to do is to start off the process for transition to the new structure, the corporate structure. So we're going to move to that straight away. So the corporate trustee structure, that's come from other PSGs. Having a corporate trustee structure is the right means to move in that direction. So we'll do that as well as start preparing for the 5-year annual strategic plan, as well as go down and start the process for appointing the directors on the commercial board. So that'll be part of what we do as our role in that first 3 months. Prepare that so when the incoming trustees come, they can hit the ground running and have everything kind of mapped out, ready to go. So get involved with your kauis. You know, if you haven't, check with Dev which kauis you're registered with to make sure that you're with all those where your whakapapa takes you to. It's your choice to choose how many you want to participate in. It's not for us to decide that you can only pick one, because it'd be hard for you to pick one out of many you may have. That was one of the major feedbacks that came through with the engagement. You know, having to pick one is difficult for some to pick between my mother's side and my father's side. When you've got a lot of whakapapa, we don't want to go down that path. It created a bit of angst with picking primary kahuis. We've opened it up to, if you whakapapa to multiple, then you are in that kahui entity and in their processes. Representation, assets, yep. So some of the commercial stuff, that seems to be a lot of strong questions coming from the other information that we've been having around the role of the commercial directors. Now you understand 2 separate boards. Someone who sits on Tata can't sit on that the commercial board to keep clear separation. The Tata board is control of that commercial board. It appoints and hires and fires them based on making sure that they deliver performance-based. You know, it's not about, at the end of the day, it's not about maximising the settlement for on a financial means. It's maximising the settlement based within a structure. Yeah, so that basic structure sets out the statements of investment priorities and objectives, the SIPO. They come up to us with that structure, and we tweak it and improve it for them to operate in. So they may need some deliverables, some social activities, some economic, some environment protocols that need to be in there to make sure that it's not all about the money. So there needs to be a bit of a balance, so we get a good balanced approach to it. You know, we have gone pretty hard on the financial side, and have gone to maximise that, grow the asset base, try and get a large asset base, but yeah, we were trying to balance it a little bit more better, have a more balanced approach. And also, if the directors need to manage some conflicts, sometimes there's some questions about conflicts. If a director was sitting there and had certain other companies that he owns or involved with, then we need to be clear on where those persons are investing our money, make sure it's not investing in their own companies to prop up them. It needs to be quite clear around that.
Yeah, thank you, mate. The only other thing I would mention at this time, you know, the governance structural processes for Tato is very strong, and it's very, very encouraging to see statements in your presentation where the selection process will be for qualified people, experienced people, not by what runs in our vein. Very, very important for us moving forward as one iwi. Okay, thank you.
Yep, so with the forestry director selection process we ran, with Petty ran, as part of a process we instilled was we wanted the best person for the role approach again. And that meant when the selection of the candidates came out, we had one person who wasn't from us sitting on a sign, one of our own. So that was came clear other PSG settlements, is that they got their own people in there to sit alongside the best people that they could get to train them, to skill them, bring them up. So that's the approach we're doing with the commercial board as well. Make sure we're side by side, our own at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure they get the skills as well, but make sure that they got an understanding of who we are, those ones who are not our members, because sometimes they can run away with things. It's the tail wagging the dog. They think it's their money, and they tell the governance what to do. So we want to make sure they clearly can understand our approach to this.
Kia ora koutou te whānau, ko Mausa Wainahu tōku ingoa, ko Ngai Apatu me Ngāti Hene Mihi, ko Tāki Timu me Tāwhiria Maru me Hene Mihi Marae, Taku Marae, kia ora koutou. You've obviously touched on the cultural redress stuff, and that's in the booklet information and so forth, and so obviously you've done a huge amount of work in that area in terms of historically hui a whānau hapu iwi are, and you've mentioned with this commercial structure that you've presented in terms of all the economic realities and commercial realities that you have to deal with at a governance level or even at a kahui level. The question I initially have is around between the cultural consideration and the commercial economic consideration, is what sort of mahi the trustees and the board has looked at in relation to potential social investment or social outcomes in terms of types of mahi or projects that may be socially driven or socially investment orientated. So a practical example that I can sort of look at or go to that what I'd consider a social investment is around the philanthropic space, especially around philanthropy. So it's quite a specialised area, so I'm just wondering whether or not there's any mahi sort of been done in that space. Kia ora.
We haven't yet embarked on that. That's our next role once we get this over the line. So the focus has been getting the structures and set up in place. But definitely those looking into that social inclusion, the social making sure that we're not too heavily involved and just commercial focused. They are deriving outcomes in terms of employment, environment, we're lifting all those indicators at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we want everyone to move back home. So we want to create jobs and employment for everyone to be there. So to do that, we need to, make sure that we're doing it in a way that doesn't affect the environment, but we create jobs that are not just on the bush, on the chain. We want to create jobs that are managers and all up and down the vertical spectrum, not just the basic labourer type jobs. So we were trying to make sure we have that holistic approach to including work and that is going to add value to someone moving back home. And there's a lot of people who've moved away, no fault of their own, and got jobs in other areas and higher levels that don't exist back home. So we want to make sure that if they transition back home, there is employment there in those areas. So that's part of the 5-year strategic plan we need to focus on. That by setting that 5-year strategic plan, it also gives direction for the commercial board to make sure that it's adhering to that as well. That's the vision that we need. Commercial representation. Commercial representation. Independence. I think it's covered any questions around the representation stuff. Commercial board, independence. You would have seen the financial projections and modellings we did with Deloitte. They're very conservative. We start at the low end and then build up. It's not so I think we've covered off all. No further question? Kapa? Oh. Cool. No further questions, then I guess that's us. We'll close our. Who are they coming?
just for now, it's sort of like ask your question or further hold your peace. It's not quite like that. And there's opportunities through Facebook and through some of the addresses up there. You'll probably walk out of here and you'll sort of think, oh, question. Well, there's still ways of addressing those. Hoi anō, tēnei te mihi kia o koutou katoa. E tai tinana mai, me ki rā kairunga i ngā heko nei. Tēnei te mihi kia tātou. It would be remiss of us as trustees not to actually recommend. And you'll find in the document that Tātou trustees have recommended a way forward. And that's part of our role, is having gone through all of the due diligence, all of the discussions, all of the consultation, is to recommend what we believe is the way forward. But kia o koutou tēnā. Kia o koutou tēnā whiriwhiringa. And just touching kei te rangatira te whanaunga. Within ancient, we also think of wizened ones. Koina. Hoi anō, kua kōrero ngā kōrero, kia whariki hea ngā whakaro, kei te haere tonu tēnei. Tai atu ki te rua te kaumā ono o ngā rā o te maramane. We have until the 26th to cast our vote. Encourage your whānau, not only here in Papaoia, but tomorrow, 12 o'clock in Wellington, and then 10 o'clock down in Christchurch. Please get on the phones and emails and Facebooks and encourage your whānau to either live stream in or to attend our hui in those respective cities. We'd love to see them there. A lot of information to take on board. But it does essentially come down to those resolutions that have been put up. Hoi anō, ko tai te pō, kia whakatoa mai te rangi, tēnei te mihi, kia tātou katoa. May the calm be widespread. May the pathways back to the doors of your whare, or the next destination you have, glisten like that of greenstone. May the shimmer of sun dance across your pathways as you speed quickly, swiftly and safely back to your whānau. And may your constant companion be peace and goodwill to whom all you encounter in that journey, not only on this night, but in all the days, the months and the years ahead. Kia timata hea kai runga i te karakia, ka tika ke oti pai kai runga i te karakia. Kai te tohungia tātou kai runga ki tēnei, mohe o tia whānui tia i tēnei karakia o te atua. E tō mātou matu i te rangi, kia tapu tō ingoa, kia tai mai tō rangatiratanga, kia mea tia tau e pai ai ki runga ki te whenua, kia rite anō ki tō te rangi. Ho mai kia mātou ai nei he taro mō mātou mō tēnei rā. Muru o mātou hara, me mātou hoki e muru nei o te hunga e harana kia mātou. Au hoki mātou e kauea kia whakawaia, engari whakaorangi a mātou i te kino, nū hoki te rangatiratanga, te kaha me te kororia, ake, āmine, kia ora tātai. And there's kai out there. E hoa whakapainga nei kai he oranga mō mātou tina whangai o mātou wairua ki te taro o te ora, ko hikurai ti tō tātou ariki. Āmine.